Hi again. I'd like to bring this second series of Client Culture Online to a close with three poems. Two of the poems are about places that hold a certain significance for me, Belfast and China. And the third poem is about the importance, or rather the place that language holds in culture and its inadequacy to express either the horror or the joy of existence. And I'll begin with the first poem, which is about my, well, it's not about my childhood, but it's about it stemmed from my experience of summers and Christmas holidays that I spent at my grandmother's house in Belfast. And it's called The Wild, the Willing and the Witless. This is not mine. It belongs to my father unknown, and my mother long silent, to the wash and the wake of the Belfast to Heysham steamship, to the dray horse, still as a photograph on Glandore Gardens outside my grandmother's house. Still, only the clip of hoof on cobblestone, its head in the bag of oats and molasses, snorts and crunches, steam rising and that one brown eye rolling through grey silence up to me in the window. "Barney Google," she chirruped, with the googly eyes. This is not mine. It belongs to my love, long dead, to the silence of long years gone, to my children and all children to come, to the warp and the weft of all time. I am a part of this, but it is not mine. I do not make it, it makes me. Know who you are is the law, and the whole of the law, and the law is immutable and cruel divine. I am part of this, but it is not mine. It belongs to the fever that shivering creeps over sweat-bound sheets, that denies choice save the surety of illusion in those too tender, too innocent, too fearful to shine. I am a part of this, but it is not mine. It bloods itself with the grace of maggots on the knowing and unknowing, the willing and the witless, through the arc of time, charming the wild with seed, seducing the free with words and words with wine. We are part of this. It is sublime. The second poem is I wrote when I was living in China in the late 90s, early 2000s. I was living in northwest China on the Tibetan Plateau. The Tibetan Plateau is a huge district that stretches from what we now know as Tibet down in the southwestern area of China, and stretches right up to Mongolia. Tibetan people are nomadic people. They travel in tents with yaks. I'd not been there very long when the college I was working for took me out on a day trip to a Buddhist temple which was built you know, excavated, built is the wrong word, excavated in a rock face into caves, and there were all these, you know, Tibetan artistic works in these caves. Outside the temple, there was an encampment of Tibetan people, and they were selling stuff, you know, trying to make a few quid, a few UN. And we went inside there and ordered a meal, such as it was, and I didn't know anything. It was green at the time, I knew nothing. And one of the things that my hosts, my college, liked to indulge in was getting me drunk. Not too difficult a task in those days, but looking back now, I realise they were often engaged in getting me dangerously drunk, and this was one such occasion. Anyway, here's the poem. Inside the yurt on the Tibetan plateau, we had been eating crudely butchered and boiled mutton with our fingers and garlic to rub. She approached me singing, offering a bowl of baijiu, 80% proof spirit. You must drink as she sings, my host had said. For as long as she sings, you must drink. In the spirit of cultural harmony, I obliged. Her voice rose and fell in waves of the sorrows of a tribe, of the wind in the grass and the yaks outside. I drank as she sang. The flaps cracked and the yurt, and my eyes strained at the ropes, and I drank as she sang. Her cheeks bloomed red, my host's teeth yellowed as he smiled. Goading or encouraging, it's hard now to tell. As she sang, as I drank, as I wavered. The plateau was wide, miles wide and miles long, as I drank, as she sang of history's horizons. The spirit inside surrendered. The stench of mutton remains is all next day I remembered, and wild garlic on my tongue. And finally, this is a poem called The Word. As I said earlier, it's about how difficult it is to shape language to reflect our experience. And without further ado, here's the poem. The Word. There was a word went looking to define itself. A word without sound, it could not be spoken, nor mirrored in homonym. It took flight to the seas, hovered over the whales of the wretched in flimsy craft and the indifferent susurration of waves. It crawled into the ears of the dying on far-flung battlefields and found not peace, but busy drones of flies already at work. It sped from there to a village where a woman sank in supplication to God, or white hat, for law, for mercy, for food, for her child, for the children, for the lost, and it found no sanctuary, no name, no extreme unction, no gentle passage, no escape for her, for them, for itself, and it ran from there, pursued by the sounds it had gathered like cumulus around it. In a forest it lay beneath branches, whipped by wind in tongues of frenzied belief, in book by rabbi, by priest and imam, and found not hope, not truth, not beauty, not love, but the scourge of the word, and the word knew itself and fell silent. And that's it. Thanks for listening, if you were listening, and see ya.